What's up, peeps? Julian Williams here to Distance Got a response to 78 Fight News on Adrian Broner, the future video. And pretty much, 78 Fight News, if you haven't checked out his channel, you definitely have to check him out. He makes some very top-notch boxing vids, and you can tell he's a great fan of the sport. But pretty much, in the video, he was talking about Adrian Broner being the future of boxing and how he needs to clean out that 130-pound division before he moves up to 135, and fight for money. Of course, I do agree with that point because, for a while now, we've had, fighters go in and unify a couple belts and then just move up, to another weight class, that provides more money. And of course, legacy and money are two different things, especially when it comes to boxing. Of course, legacy isn't going to pay the bills. All fighters are looking for the big money fights, but also not thinking accordingly, before providing themselves, with the proper precautions before, moving up to these big money fights. Personally, and this is just my opinion, and my opinion isn't the only one that matters, but pretty much what I think Adrian Broner needs to stay at 130 and clean out that division. I think that very potentially he can go in and win all the belts at 130, which is something that has not happened since Bernard Hopkins did back in 2005. Or excuse me, 2004 when he won all the belts, WBC, WBA, IBF, and Ring Magazine. He won all the belts, and pretty much a lot of people, pretty much look at the WBO as like an extra belt, being that it was founded in 1988, and it's just an extra championship, and a lot of people see it as a paper championship. But Hopkins did pick up that WBO belt, even though he waited a while. He went in, he fought guys like Antoine Eccles, he fought Keith Holmes like 3 times, he fought Trinidad, he fought William Joppy, fought Mercado twice. He went in and he cleaned out that division for over like 10 years. Had more than like, I think it was like 21 title defenses as a middleweight. And then he moved up, he skipped the weight class of 168 and moved up to 175 and beat the man at 175. And a lot of us give Hopkins a lot of credit, for what he's done at middleweight, being probably one of the greatest middleweights to ever live since Hagler, one of the greatest since Hagler. But another fight that cleaned out of the division, Michael Spinks, one of the greatest light heavyweights of all time, cleaned out that 175 division, and then moved up to heavyweight and fought Larry Holmes, and that's a huge victory for him. And I think that Broner needs to clean out that 130-pound division because let's face it, those fighters at 130 are beatable. Juan Carlos Salgado, he went in, he knocked out Jorge Linares in 1 round. He's the IBF title holder. He's good. He's an offensive-minded fighter. Has quick hands. He hits hard, and he's always there to fight from bell to bell. That's a winnable fight for Adrian Broner. Being, looking at his style, it's a winnable fight. On the other hand, there's another dude, Takahiro Ao, who's like, I think he's a WBA. I think he's a WBA champion, and he's a guy that has a couple losses on his record, but that's another winnable fight for him. But the man at 130, of course, is Uchiyama. He's the man at 130 right now. He beat he beat Salgado. That's pretty much his big victory, but he beat Salgado. I think he has that victory over Jorge Solis. So I'm like, he's a pretty good fighter. I think he's a WBC. I think he's a WBC title holder, and he's pretty good. But I think Adrian Broner needs to clean out that division before he decides to move up to 135 or even 140 for that matter. If he fights at 130 long enough, I think that Broner does have the potential, and he's young too. He's 22 years old, about to be 23. He can go in and he can clean out this division. He has time to clean out 130. He has time to go in and clean out 135. He could clean out 2 divisions in his career, and be one of few fighters to clean out 2 divisions. And we all know that, we all have the argument with belts in the sport of boxing, how belts don't mean anything. Belts can only just go in and collect dust. But for Adrian Broner, that could be the selling point for his fights in the future. Hey, I won all these belts, in 2 divisions. And, whether the fight can say that, I think that should be a goal for Adrian Broner. Because he's skilled, He's skilled, he's grasped pugilism very well at a young age, being 22 years old. And, being and fighting at the level he's at right now, and being so composed. He also, he has a great eye for the sport and a great personality in the sport that's going to draw and attract a lot of new fans. So I think that Adrian Broner is the future of the sport of boxing, and also he has a big upcoming fight against Vicente Escobedo, who's faced some top opponents in the past. Robert Guerrero, he's faced Catsides, he's faced Rocky Juarez. Now these guys are, Catsides, is an interim title holder. Guerrero is a former champion, and Juarez is a former contender. But these guys are no walk in the park, and also Vicente Escobedo is going to be a good fight for him. So I definitely agree with 78. Adrian Broner needs to clean out that 130-pound division before he moves up and fights the big money fights. Because I know HBO is going to continue pushing money his way and throwing money at him, because he's entertaining to watch. He lets the knockout come to him, and he's a very calm and composed fighter, believe it or not. So pretty much, man, that's all I have to say. And big up to 78 for making the vid. I'm out of here. That was The Distance, and thanks for watching. Peace.